Hey everyone, welcome to Mike on Raw. It's been a while, about just over half of the year done already in 2019, and I've been thinking of things to talk about, and I finally had some time to talk about them, so let's get started. One of the big things I've noticed in 2019 is vegan YouTubers that started either being vegan about the time I started or had been vegan for just a short time when I started, and I kind of used their journeys through veganism to help me get started, but now some of them are not vegan anymore. And I guess, how do I feel about that? I'm wondering how you feel about that. You can let me know in the comments down below. I know for me, it's kind of just reduced the list of people I subscribe to on YouTube. Most of them haven't really been a big shock to me. I think it's been interesting how it turns out that you can't really always trust people, especially when people are trying to sell something. You know, when people are using veganism to help sell things, a lot of times it's turned out you can't always trust that they're still going to be telling you what is honest and from their heart, because they have other things that are motivating them. And I think that that's really what sets apart those that are staying vegan and those that are leaving veganism, because they were in it more for the money or the fame or for, I don't know, something other than the animals, versus the other people that are still sticking around. They're in it for the animals. They're in it for the long haul, and I'm as well in it for the long haul. I think one of the more interesting ones that I noticed recently that I haven't seen talked about a lot is Brianna Fruit Jackson. I followed her since the beginning. I found her to be a very inspiring young person. She's trying to figure things out, trying to get things forward. And I caught on a Instagram story recently that she said she's not vegan anymore, which is unfortunate.
But honestly, it's just about educating people and trying to show them that there is no need to cause harm to animals. We have absolutely no need to eat animals and abuse them and take away their babies, you know, rip apart families, kill animals that are just innocent and want to live just like we do. You know, it's just about trying to open their eyes and help them to make better choices, you know, better choices for themselves and for the animals and for the planet that we all live on. It's trying to better the whole entire world.
But then once again, that's just one less person I have to follow. I follow a lot of people because I feel like I like to see different perspectives from different people who are vegan. And she's not vegan anymore. I don't really need to pay attention to her perspective. That might be a little closed-minded to some. It's just that there's so many people for me to pay attention to. There's so many people that can benefit from any message that I might share. There's so many people that can inspire me with their message. I don't really need to spend the time paying attention to people that have just given up on something that I feel is really something that you never will give up. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was the idea that we have a lot more vegan options in 2019. A lot of them started coming out they came out last year, and then when the next year comes around, we get even more options. It's really great to see those type of options available in stores, even in fast food restaurants. Not so much because it's great that I can go eat it there, but it's great that it's getting that type of exposure to the general populace, and that veganism still remains something that other people are interested in. And from the way that the sales are going, and when you hear about when products get introduced in a store and they sell out, apparently there's a lot of demand that I just don't see normally in my everyday world. And I think that's great. Definitely there are some conflicts around the vegan options that are out there. I know that for instance, Impossible Foods, people aren't real happy with Impossible Foods because they're doing animal testing animal testing that isn't required to be done, but they want to do it because they're trying to get some special certification from the government. Apparently it'll make it easier for them to sell their products, so I'm seeing their products all over the place right now, so I'm not sure what more they need to prove. Just Foods, they had a problem as well. I think the Vegan Zombie did some talking about the Just Food stuff.
The Just Egg should never, that we should never serve Just Egg with other animal products on it. I think we just have an honest, probably good-hearted difference of opinion. And that's okay. I think the reason I co-founded and I lead this company is I believe the food system should be better, it should be healthier, it should be more ethical, it should taste better for everyone, and everyone's at different stages, right? We can't all think the same thing about things, but we really do believe that better is good. And perfection is one thing, but being better, being more sustainable, being more thoughtful is a good thing. And sometimes that's necessary to move the world forward a little bit, and that's just our philosophy. And I totally respect people that might think differently about it, but that is our philosophy, and it's also a responsibility at the same time that we're open about the label and open about whether something's vegan or not. So that's just a perspective I wanted to share. Didn't mean that everyone's going to agree with me on it, but it is honest, and I wanted to be able to share that with you.
Right, and I guess my point is. It's your company to do what you want. I'm not saying you did anything wrong there. I'm just saying it kind of conflicts. There's a big hypocrisy there, I guess, with your statement on being sustainable with a product and pairing it with something that is so unsustainable and cruel and all the negative stuff that goes with it.
He also did some stuff with Impossible Foods.
All right, I'm at Impossible Foods, and they have a chorizo meatball kind of. I'm going to try this. And there's a whole other thing of them. It's good. Now they have sliders over there.
Yeah.
Let's check those out.
Yeah, so the meat that the product itself.
Is it vegan cheese?
I don't believe it's vegan cheese, no. I don't believe it's vegan cheese, no.
I think it's kind of a fine edge that these companies have to walk on, because they're not trying to really just be the king of the vegan market. They're trying to be the king of the worldwide global market. And because of that, they need to show how their products can be used in really anything. And when they want to show that, sometimes vegans get stuck in the crossfire and they start promoting non-vegan foods that have their vegan things in it at their shows, which gets a little bit frustrating for people, especially when they don't use proper labeling at their events. I don't really have a huge problem with those companies. I think I have a problem for them for me personally. I'm not someone that's going to search out Impossible Food stuff necessarily. I'm not someone that's going to search out, the mock meats that come from animal cells. But in the end, it's great for the animals. It's great for the planet. Every time someone goes to a store and they buy a Just Mayo, or every time someone goes to a store and buys, or goes to a restaurant and orders the Impossible Burger, that's one animal product that they didn't, that would have otherwise been purchased by them. And because they're not purchasing those animal products, they're driving demand for those animal products down, and that's causing less animals to be injured and enslaved, essentially. So while it may not be ideal that these companies make things that are vegan and use them in non-vegan ways at times, it's getting better. And I think it will only get better. I don't need to support these companies for them to survive. I just need to be thankful that these companies are doing even the little bit they are, because it's going to help the animals a lot. Let me know what your thoughts are on this in the comments down below. Now, one of the big things that I wanted to talk about, of course, is getting involved. We're all involved in one way or another as a vegan, in that we're buying vegan options, we're not buying animal products, we're doing really the least that we can do, and that's a great thing. But we can do more, and I challenge both myself and you to do more. One way you can do more is acting locally, right? You could do Anonymous for the Voiceless. Find an Anonymous for the Voiceless organization in your area. Go volunteer at one of those for their Cube of Truth. Hold a sign, hold a movie, talk to people, help with that very peaceful way of trying to promote veganism. Maybe get involved in TNR programs. TNR programs are programs that try to capture feral cat families, make sure that they're healthy, work with veterinarians that help donate their time and donate some of the money. They get the cats healthy again so that they're in good shape and have a great life, and then they'll neuter those cats so that they don't create more cats and more kittens that then will suffer out in the wilderness. The problem with feral cats in cities all over the world is a real one, and you may not know it, but there's volunteers right now that are trying to help those cats. And if you can help in your area, that's a great thing. One of the things that'll be really interesting is you'll find that there's these people that care so much for these cats, care so much to help them, and after they're done doing a mission of helping the cats, they might go get some cow burgers at a restaurant, and they're kind of disconnected on that. So that's one vegan activist way you can help, is being the vegan in that TNR group, helping promote the idea that you need to be connected to. If you care so much for these cats, why can't you also care so much for those cows or those pigs or those chickens? What got me so interested in that was I recently saw a speech at the Iowa Farm Sanctuary down in Iowa, and Ethically Elizabeth was there, and she talked about the work that she does in her town with TNR programs and how crucial it is to really make a big difference in the lives of animals, and that's one way you can do it in your community.
Guys, so tonight we are joining forces with some local rescuers to catch a few dozen cats who are living under a mobile home park that is currently being demolished with the cats living underneath them. So we are going to trap them and relocate them somewhere safe. As you can see behind me, demolition has already begun, apparently resulting in the death of a few cats already. So we are coming out tonight with local media to draw attention to this issue and hope that we can rescue all cats before demolition does begin again. So we got my buddy. Hi, buddy. He's not super happy, but he's being a pretty good trooper, given the circumstances. Now you're safe, and we're going to take you somewhere so you don't get a trailer dropped on your head. Picked up 6 very, very sick kittens. As you can see, none of their eyes are even visible. They probably have really bad URIs, upper respiratory infections. I'm gonna bathe them right now, get some warm compresses on their eyes, and then I'm gonna take them to the vet. Oh, poor little babies. And this can all be prevented if people got more involved with TNR and and spayed and neutered their companions. So here's another two. These are two of like 7 now we've seen on campus since we've been here. So this just gives you an idea of how many kittens there are right now. It's out of control. So many kittens, so little help. I know! You're adorable. We need to find you a foster because we already have like 11 each.
Look online. If you do a search for TNR in the city that you're in, I bet you'll find something, and I'll bet you find some people that'd be very happy for you to have help them. Outside of those things, get involved with city councils, get involved in your county, get involved with the schools. You know, the dairy industry now is trying to put latte systems, latte machines inside schools to help promote the use of dairy. And it's kind of crazy how they're giving grant monies to schools, so they'll put in machines in their facilities so that they can essentially sell more cow secretions. This is kind of their effort to go against what's being done, or their decrease in market share. They're trying to find ways to expand their market share even though it's decreasing. And the only way that we're going to stop the dairy industry from trying to find other avenues to put dairy in schools is to get involved at the school level. Talk with school boards, talk with principals of the schools, let them understand that dairy is not a health food, and help them understand how there's alternatives that we can give kids. If you want to give them coffee, which seems like a terrible idea to start with, you could give them almond milks or soy milks or coconut milks or oat milks or hemp milks, whatever kind of milk. It doesn't have to be animal secretions. The other way you can get involved and really help put the pressure on the dairy industry, the animal products industry, is work at the national level. I've already talked about in the past about the Humane Party. I think it's a great organization. It's the only vegan political party. The Democrats aren't talking about veganism. Republicans aren't talking about veganism. The Green Party's not talking about. The Libertarian Party's not talking about. The only party that's talking about veganism is the Humane Party. And we're always looking for volunteers in the party. There's always a way that you can get involved if you're interested in getting involved politically. The Humane Party is a great way to volunteer. Go to humaneparty.org. Check the link in my description. I'll share that there, and volunteer. There'll be something you can do that can help us out. The other thing on the national level is the Vegan Justice League. It's a pretty cool thing. I just heard about it just a few weeks ago. It's essentially a league that started up to create a lobbying group that is going to put a lobbyist in Congress to help lobby for the vegan position. What that's going to look like, how that's going to happen, you need to get involved. You can join the Vegan Justice League. I'll have links in my bio. It's a great organization. By the end of this year, they should have enough money for their lobbyist, and they'll be hiring someone. And next year in Congress, we should be seeing the vegan message being promoted with our legislatures in Congress. And it's important to do that because one of the things that's been going on right now in the government, and it was recently passed by Trump, was an idea of buying the excess capacity from the animal industry to essentially stockpile it. So if we as the consumers are not buying enough meat or eggs or dairy, then the federal government just buys the difference, and they keep propping up these companies that no one really wants anymore. Right? We need dairy to realize they need to convert to a different business model, one that doesn't use animal products. But we can't do that if the government keeps giving them money.
Farmers, environmentalists, animal rights supporters, and free market libertarians all have one problem in common.
One of the worst things to ever happen to the vegan movement is happening right now. Last year, 2018, we awarded farmers, mega farmers, $12 billion in bailouts. It makes them not be able to fail. So no matter how many people we veganize, no matter how many plant-based companies that exist, no matter how well they're doing, animals aren't being saved because all this industry does is continue to oversupply, and profit anyways because they're in Congress's ear to get these bailouts.
Last fall, I too had a similar revelation. My name is Laura Reese. When I realized that my tax dollars were undermining my activism through bailouts and subsidies to animal agribusinesses, I was outraged. So I took my case to Capitol Hill through an organization called Lobbyists for Good. Here you see the Vice News coverage of a day of our lobbying. I've since joined forces with Connie, as have about a dozen other volunteers, and together we are building the Vegan Justice League. Membership is growing every day, and that's encouraging, but then we just heard the latest news.
As if that's not enough, Trump tweeted he's seeking more bailout money for them right as we speak. These things never hit your radar. This is the biggest thing happening in our movement right this second, and nobody is whistleblowing it. So here's the deal. The reason that these bailouts happen is because they have lobbyists, and those lobbyists are in Congress's ear all the time. And the reason that we let this happen is because we keep fighting a street fight in a fight that needs to happen with these congressmen. Our activism is so strong and it's doing wonderful things for social changes, but it's doing absolutely jack shit towards what's happening with our taxes. At this stage, with all of this education, while veganizing people was supposed to save animals, and I still want all of that to happen, if you know that our taxes are being used for this, and if you know that essentially that it isn't saving animals just by veganizing people in our consumerism because our taxes are being used, are we then complicit to allowing animals not to be saved if we're not bringing this subject up? That's my question to you. Are we complicit if we're ignoring the political side of this? Because I believe we are.
This is why we're building the Vegan Justice League. We're raising money, 100% of which will hire a lobbyist by year's end. We're going to go toe-to-toe against the big animal agribusinesses. This isn't to replace your activism. Our lobbying efforts are to make sure your activism has the full effect that it should. Join us at veganjusticeleague.com.
And the only way we're going to stop the government from giving them money is to be a part of the government and argue against that. The political system is required right now for vegans to get involved. And I know that a lot of people aren't interested in getting involved in the political system. But for those of you that are interested in politics, you need to get involved because it's super important. And the two ways you can get involved right now is the Vegan Justice League and the Humane Party. So what do you think about that? Have you been interested in getting involved in the political side of things within your city, your county, your country? Let me know in the comments down below. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. This is about all I've got to say right now. I'm still really, really busy these days, partly because I'm creating my own work for me. I'm sorry that these videos are coming infrequent. I don't know that it's going to get any better real soon. We'll see. If you really want to keep up on what Mike's doing, you can always follow me on Instagram. I'm quite a bit more proficient on Instagram just because it's super simple, super fast, super easy. YouTube's a little bit more challenging, takes a little bit more time, and I don't have a lot of time. Just found some time this 4th of July weekend to get something done. Thanks so much for watching. Give me ideas in the description of other things you'd like me to do, and maybe I can get it done. We'll see you next time. Bye.